In an era defined by both increasing globalization and persistent cultural fragmentation, the question of identity has taken on a central importance. For millennia, religious affiliation has served as a primary source of individual and collective identity. The declaration "I am a Christian" or "I am a Muslim" has been a statement of faith, a marker of community, a moral compass, and a cultural signifier. In response to the perceived dominance of religious worldviews, the identity of atheist has emerged as a powerful counter-narrative, grounding identity in reason, empiricism, and a rejection of the supernatural. This video, however, begins with a different declaration. I am not a Christian, I am not a Muslim, and I am not an atheist. Instead, I am human. This is not a declaration of hostility towards these groups, nor is it a claim to a value-neutral space. Rather, it is a proposition that the identity of human precedes and supersedes these other categories. It is an assertion that our shared biology, our shared capacity for joy and suffering, our shared mortality, and our shared planetary home constitute a more profound and urgent basis for identity than any metaphysical belief system, however deeply held. This video will deconstruct the limitations of religious and atheistic identities as primary markers and build a case for a human-centric identity as a more robust foundation for ethics, community, and meaning. At their core, many religious systems, particularly the Abrahamic faiths of Christianity and Islam, are built upon frameworks of revealed truth and exclusive salvation. The statement, "I am a Christian," implicitly or explicitly, aligns an individual with a specific set of theological propositions: the divinity of Jesus Christ, the concept of salvation through faith, the authority of the Bible or church tradition. Similarly, "I am a Muslim" signifies adherence to the 5 pillars, the prophethood of Muhammad, and the Qur'an as the final, uncorrupted Word of God. While these systems provide immense comfort, community, and moral structure to billions, their exclusive truth claims inherently create an us versus them dynamic. If one's path to salvation or enlightenment is the correct one, it follows that other paths are, at best, incomplete, and at worst, dangerously false. This logic, when taken to its extreme, has been a historical catalyst for conflict, persecution, and violence, from the Crusades to the modern-day sectarianism that plagues many parts of the world. An identity defined by what one is not, an unbeliever, a heretic, an infidel, is fundamentally oppositional. It prioritizes doctrinal purity over human solidarity, making it difficult to extend empathy and moral consideration to those outside the fold. Doctrinal identity, by its nature, provides answers. It offers a comprehensive cosmology, a pre-packaged moral code, and a narrative for human existence. While this can be a source of security, it can also be a constraint on intellectual and moral growth. To identify as a Christian or a Muslim can sometimes mean accepting a set of answers to life's biggest questions without the space for ongoing, personal, and potentially contradictory inquiry. Now, considering the fact that life seeks to improve, evolve, advance, or to move forward, are we here to promote the experiences of others, more especially the experiences of people in antiquity, or to promote our own lived experiences? If we promote ancient experiences at the expense of our contemporary lived experiences, it is our evolution that is detrimentally affected. This can lead to a state where conformity to ancient texts or clerical authority is valued more highly than critical thinking or individual moral reasoning. Questions about gender roles, sexuality, science, and social justice can become battlegrounds where the demands of identity clash with the demands of reason or compassion. An identity rooted in human does not provide these answers. Instead, it provides the framework, the shared capacity for reason, empathy, and experience, within which humanity must continually seek them together. Religious traditions have provided guidance, moral frameworks, and spiritual meaning for billions of people. Christianity teaches love through the life and message of Jesus Christ. Islam emphasizes submission to Allah through the teachings of Muhammad, and many other traditions offer paths to spiritual fulfillment. These traditions have shaped civilizations and inspired countless acts of compassion. However, religious labels can sometimes become boundaries that separate people. When identity is strongly tied to a particular belief system, individuals may unconsciously divide the world into us and them. History provides many examples where such divisions led to misunderstanding, conflict, or intolerance. Declaring, "I am not a Christian or a Muslim" in this context may therefore reflect a desire to transcend sectarian identity. It is not necessarily a denial of spiritual wisdom within these traditions. Instead, it suggests that no single label can fully define the complexity of the human spirit. Atheism represents another important worldview. It emphasizes skepticism toward belief in a deity and often encourages reliance on reason, science, and empirical evidence. For many people, atheism is a way of rejecting religious dogma and asserting intellectual independence. Yet, identifying solely as an atheist can also become a defining label. When a person says, "I am not an atheist," they may be suggesting that their understanding of existence cannot be confined strictly to belief or disbelief in God. Human experience contains dimensions, moral, emotional, and spiritual, that transcend such binary classifications. Thus, the statement does not necessarily reject atheism, but rather refuses to allow disbelief to be the primary identity of a person. Religious identities shape cultures, moral systems, and personal worldviews. Christianity, Islam, and atheism each offer frameworks for understanding life, purpose, and morality. However, these labels also carry expectations, assumptions, and stereotypes. Christianity is often associated with specific doctrines, moral codes, and cultural traditions. Islam carries its own rich history, rituals, and global diversity, but is also frequently misunderstood or politicized. Atheism, while not a religion, is still treated as a category that defines a person's stance on belief and often their worldview. These labels can be meaningful and empowering for many, yet they can also become limiting. They can overshadow individuality, reduce complex human beings to a single dimension, and create boundaries between us and them. To say, "I am human," is to affirm the most fundamental identity shared by every person on Earth. Regardless of religion, philosophy, culture, or nationality, all human beings share common needs, emotions, and aspirations. We seek meaning, belonging, love, and understanding. Being human means possessing the capacity for compassion, creativity, and moral responsibility. It means recognizing that every individual, regardless of their beliefs, experiences joy, suffering, hope, and fear. This perspective emphasizes universal human dignity. It calls for empathy that transcends ideological differences and invites individuals to see each other not as representatives of competing belief systems, but as fellow travelers in the human journey. To identify first and foremost as human is to ground one's identity in what is universally and undeniably true. We are all born. We all feel pain and pleasure. We all form relationships. We all contemplate our existence. And we all die. These are not theological propositions or philosophical stances. They are biological and existential facts. This shared experience is the bedrock of empathy. When we see another human suffering, we can recognize the potential for that same suffering within ourselves. This recognition is not dependent on shared beliefs. A Christian does not need to share a Muslim's faith to feel empathy for their grief, nor does an atheist need to share their worldview to understand their fear. The common thread is our shared vulnerability. A human-centric identity starts from this point of connection, not from a point of division. An ethic rooted in responsibility. If our primary identity is human, then our primary ethical responsibility is to humanity itself. This shifts the focus from pleasing a divine authority or winning a theological argument to improving the human condition. The ultimate moral question becomes, does this action increase or decrease human flourishing, well-being, and dignity? This human-centric ethic is inherently pragmatic and inclusive. It provides a common language for addressing global challenges like climate change, poverty, pandemics, and injustice. These are not Christian problems or Muslim problems. They are human problems that require human cooperation, transcending ideological lines. The moral imperative is not to convert or convince, but to collaborate for the collective good. Declaring oneself simply human can also represent a form of universal spirituality. Many people feel connected to a deeper reality, whether described as God, love, truth, or the universe, without identifying with a specific religious institution. This perspective views spiritual insight as a universal human capacity rather than the property of any single religion. It encourages openness to learning from diverse traditions while maintaining independence of thought. Such an approach promotes dialogue instead of division. Rather than arguing about which belief system is correct, individuals can focus on shared experiences of wonder, compassion, and the search for meaning. Human identity is complex and multifaceted. Religion, culture, and philosophy all contribute to who we are. However, when these identities overshadow our shared humanity, they risk creating unnecessary barriers. The declaration, "I am human," invites a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing differences as reasons for separation, we can view them as expressions of humanity's rich diversity. Each tradition and worldview can be appreciated as part of the collective human story. This approach does not require abandoning personal beliefs. A person may still practice a religion or hold philosophical convictions. The key idea is that these identities should never diminish the recognition that all people belong to the same human family. One of the primary functions of religion is to provide a sense of meaning and purpose. A human-centric identity does not leave a void in this regard. Instead, it invites us to create our own meaning. It suggests that purpose is not something to be found in a holy book or divine plan, but something to be created through our actions, our relationships, and our contributions to the world. Meaning can be found in the love for a family, the creation of a work of art, the pursuit of scientific discovery, the act of helping a stranger, or the simple appreciation of beauty. It is found in the lived, embodied experience of being alive. This framework does not offer a single, universal meaning, but rather validates the infinite ways in which humans can find and create purpose for themselves and for each other. In conclusion, the declaration, "I am not a Christian, I am not a Muslim, and I am not an atheist. Instead, I am human," is not a rejection of the personal beliefs or cultural heritages of individuals. A person can find profound value in the teachings of Jesus, the poetry of Rumi, or the rigor of scientific inquiry while still holding their primary identity as human. Instead, this declaration is a call to reorder our allegiances. It is an invitation to see the labels that divide us as secondary to the reality that unites us. In a world facing existential threats, our survival and flourishing may well depend on our ability to make this cognitive and emotional shift. By grounding our identity in our shared humanity, we build a foundation for an ethic of universal responsibility, a community of global scope, and a sense of meaning that is not handed down from on high, but grown from the fertile ground of our common, fragile, and magnificent existence. We are, before all else, human. It is time we started living like it. Thank you for your support. Please share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, for more insights on the transformation of consciousness.